just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. And wow, rugby league, even though there's nothing on, there's still a lot on. And we were just talking before the show started, there's so much to talk about. So let's just get straight into it, shall we?
How are we going to cut that down?
Let's just get straight into it. Face the Music, brought to you by Sportsbet. Hammy, what do we got this week, mate?
Yeah, well, we had the pointy end of the Big Bash, of course. As you know, this is a cricket podcast, so good to probably lead with the cricket at the start of the show.
Yeah.
Congratulations, of course, to the Perth Scorchers. As we usually say with the Big Bash, you get 3 months of cricket, and then the Scorchers play the Sixers at the end, and that's what we were treated to once again. Well done to the Perth Scorchers. We had the two kind of first finals matches is what we were looking at the other day. The Scorchers played the Sixers for the first time over there. Of course, Perth won that. The only person who picked them was Roo. $1.82. Well done, mate. No one hit the frame with the man of the match. It was Finn Allen for those playing at home, which would have got you about $13.
I knew it. I should have done that one.
Yeah, you went with Smudge. Yeah. Unlike you to take the shortest favourite by several dollars there. Then the next game, the Canes versus the Stars. There was 3 of us had the Canes. Denon, Matty, and myself. Shout out to Nathan Ellis, friend of the show, who you had for man of the match.
He wasn't bloody
but then
playing.
He didn't play.
Yeah. Could help me out there, mate. Far out.
Nothing for you there. But Matty and myself, we both had also friend of the show, Slug, for player of the match. He did win at $9.
If you're a good cricket player, you're a friend of a show.
Correct. You're all welcome here, guys.
Only if you're good, though.
No English players.
Don't want to know you.
Yeah, forget about it. All right, so for BBL finals.
Sorry, did he miss the board completely on everything then?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's good footy from him.
First nerdy run of the season for Tim
So, hang on a
Williams.
sec. Where's he coming at the moment? Oh, actually, sorry, you're going to read that out.
Yeah, I was going to read it out.
Okay, sorry, apologies. Yeah, spoiler alert.
Well, you got to duck.
Where are you coming?
I have no idea. I don't know what the setup is in the pre-season. Is it across?
Yeah. This was just across the cricket for the first
It's just
couple of weeks.
this will really test your cricket knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's good. It actually works out. It actually goes in order of cricket knowledge, the results for the Big Bash final. So bringing up the rear in last with $1.82 overall was Roo. Well done, Roo.
What was that, Roo? You getting chirpy over there, mate?
Can we average it out for weeks we've actually fucking been here?
No.
Thank you.
Attendance is part of the.
I feel like he's coasting on his intro last week, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Big intro, big day. Yep, it was all about Roo. Good on you, man. You're funny. Yeah, blah, blah.
Credit where it's due. That was,
Coast
It was
when
big.
you can.
Yeah, it was
that
big.
was great. I saw a lot of messages about that. That was
Got to work on your consistency, though, mate. That's 1 week. It's 1 week.
Timmy and Denon, you guys can share equal third, $3.85.
Is that for just this last weekend?
No, that's across the
The whole. Oh, okay.
across
I think
the
so.
big
Okay,
pretty
where
good
For
is
3 months worth of tips.
This is just from the start of January. Everyone just relax. Matty, $10.66, and then the guy with the biggest cricket knowledge on the show, myself, $12.86. So
I felt like I was equal first last week.
Yeah, they got a $9 man in the match.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
$9
man,
and
match.
$12.
thanks for coming.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. That'll get you.
Let's whip my slug out. There we go.
So well, stats can be deceiving. Let's just clear
Yep.
that. You know.
So get around me. There we go. Big Bash champion.
Oh,
Let's
far
go.
out. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
I feel like I've been robbed, but...
Thanks for coming.
Well, my play didn't play. Like, he didn't play.
Yeah.
If Ellis plays, obviously, he gets
Who's
me.
votes up? Anyway, end of the show today. We'll have a look at obviously at the pointy end of the Australian Open.
Huge tennis guy.
Nick Kyrgios has got his feet up for the rest of the day. Had his feet up during it as well. Which is a great yarn on code, which we'll get to in a moment. And of course, Volk will be fighting this weekend.
Great Volk.
Yeah.
Maybe not his last fight ever in Sydney.
Yep. Love it,
Oh,
Volk. Now
man.
keep your eyes peeled as well. Sportsbet socials. A lot of content with Volk. Very funny stuff coming out this week.
He's so good on the
Yeah.
camera. He's so good.
Yeah.
I remember many years ago before as he was getting into the UFC.
Yep.
And just like you see how much his personality's come out since then.
Yeah,
He might be the most loved man in Australia.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like
Got
when
my vote.
have you ever met an Aussie bloke that doesn't like Alex Volkanovski?
No.
There you go. Boom.
Him and Travie had to be going toe to toe, surely.
Yeah, but I feel like Travie Head, obviously, it's built into this moment. I feel like Volk for at least 4 or 5 years has been the most loved man in Australia.
Yeah.
But Travie Head right now is, the most. Honestly, the run of like winning the Ashes, playing the way he did, 600 runs or whatever, then that golf putt, like, are you serious? Is that the greatest run all time?
It's not a bad 48 hours there.
Oh my God.
Let us know in the comments who's more loved.
Travis Head, Alex Volkanovski, or Guru?
Good luck, Trav.
That is Face the Music, brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. Huge footy season coming up, guys. So follow us on the feed. The multis will be all there. We cannot wait. We're getting excited. Alrighty, now it's time for the biggest story of the week. And I think we all know what that story is going to be. It's the Code Sports story of the week. We've got Dave Riccio making his debut, fresh off holidays. How you going, brother?
I'm fresh. Too fresh, actually. What's going on? Guys, this is just an absolute honour to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, mate.
And I'm talking about 25 years with the Telegraph. Right? There was an appearance at times with the Sunday Footy Show.
Yep.
Bit of 360.
Yep.
But this is special.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, mate. No, you know what? I get it. I understand
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know, don't be overawed by the moment.
I'm nervous.
It's good. I've had so many of my former telly colleagues come on the show. I've been waiting for you to come on, Dave, and just another young bloke I took under my wing, mentored for a couple of years there.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I know.
I'll never forget it.
And you were grateful at the time, I must admit.
Yeah.
So it's good to have you over here and, just
Thank
progress
you.
your career, mate.
Dave, I'm so sorry about him.
Listen, speaking about progressing your career, a bloke's trying to progress his career, Lomax, back into
what a
rugby
segue.
league. Just segue. It's, that's why you come here. That's why
Sorry,
you come here.
what did you say? Zach Lomax?
Yeah, he's trying to progress his career.
I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
You've been on holiday. Mate, what is doing? What is going on?
Yeah, guys, it's progression towards the courts. And I've got to say, I mentioned it from the top, been doing this for a while, and I can't recall a club blocking a player from joining a rival club as we're seeing it unfold now with the Parramatta Eels. They're staunch. They are absolutely definitive that they have the right to block Zach Lomax's path, providing that they receive something in return. Up until that point, then they're not comfortable with him pursuing a career with the Melbourne Storm. Now, there is a court hearing set for the 12th and 13th of February, so it's not far away. And at this point in time, lawyers are in the process of submitting subpoenas for further information.
Jeez, that could get ugly.
There is a percentage chance that this might be able to get resolved before the 12th or 13th. However, at this point in time, we're going to court. We're going to court. The Parramatta Eels are taking their former player to court over the fact that he agreed to, this is under the Eels' terms, he agreed that he wouldn't join a rival club without the Parramatta Eels ticking it off first.
Yep.
And as we know, he's already held a number of discussions with the Storm.
And that is in black and white in the contract. It's not vaguely written.
That's the Eels' claims.
Yep.
And they're talking to them, they're absolutely defiant. Guys, I still recall when this story first broke that Lomax was being released by the Eels. I spoke to Parramatta and I said, geez, this is big. Like, he hasn't been there long. And I said, are you comfortable with just letting him go? And they said, no, we've put protection around ourselves. And that was back then. They were absolutely definitive.
Yep.
They'd ticked all the boxes to make sure that they haven't just let an elite player go out of their roster without some type of protection. And that was back then. So you can only take them on their word at this point. Yeah, again, I'd be stunned if they're going to go to court without thinking that they're in a pretty strong position.
Yeah. And so just for, obviously none of us here are lawyers, although we pretend to be sometimes. So when you subpoena someone, you're getting emails, you're getting, and that stuff can leak out into the media. Is there a chance this gets super ugly? Because they've even subpoenaed his manager, Volkanovski, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, hey, it's rugby league, right?
Yeah.
So you're right. There is a chance that we might get leaked some information. The fact that it's heading to court, and also the fact that I like where Parramatta have come as a football club, and I'm talking in the past decade. Now, 10 years ago, they were an absolute 10 to 15, they were a car crash.
Yeah.
Absolute rabble. And it was one phone call and you could probably have the entire AGM minutes, records, contracts, anything you wanted, right? These days, they've tightened right up under the stewardship of Jim Sarentinos, their CEO. And they've made a couple of changes at board level, but I like the way they're very much more professional than what they have been in the past. And so, Kempy, I would be surprised if we get to that point in time, but it is rugby league, baby.
Okay, what is so strange about this is that we've had situations before where, certain clubs have, I guess, been really keen to get a player. There's publicly been very, staunch stances of like, nah, not going anywhere. Privately, though, they're working back and forth, and eventually deals get done. And I understand it's a little bit different because he's not actually playing for a club, but what unique action has put this much pressure on the Eels to force an injunction? So an injunction is basically what they're looking for, to my understanding, is a court order that says Zach Lomax cannot get on a field, he cannot train, he cannot even do anything with another club without our permission.
That's right.
And so I just, I've seen a lot of Storm fans say, oh, Storm aren't doing anything, that they're disconnected from this. But it seems like the pressure is coming from the Storm in the sense that they are very, very keen to get him training immediately.
Yep.
Is there a unique bit of pressure being put on here? Because we've never seen this happen before.
Yeah, that's right. No, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. That Zach's in communication with the Melbourne Storm about the season ahead.
Yep.
A training program. We do see that. We see players in the background, not formally agreed or signed with the club, but have had enough discussions to say, in time, this will work out and you will be with us. And therefore, start training a particular way.
Yeah.
And to the point of which the high performance manager is overseeing their training, maybe from afar, but it happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's happening at the Melbourne Storm. I'm not saying it is happening, but I just wouldn't be surprised. And look, I find the whole Storm interest in Zach fascinating within itself. And I think it says something about where they are as a footy club at the moment. They've lost a huge amount of talent in Pappenhausen and obviously Big Nelson. Like they're two big blows. And the Lomax, they probably see, look, we're picking up a rep player.
Yep.
But for me, I'm slightly concerned that this is a player that was also discarded by his own club, St George Illawarra. And you have conversations with Saints now, and they are patting Parramatta on the back as far as their management and handling of it, and have suggested that they too probably should have let Zach go immediately, remembering he played on.
Yeah.
Remember,
similar to the Ben Hunt situation, he played on for years, yeah.
And they're looking from afar going, well done, Parra, letting him go straight away, but potentially we should have done that too. So then we saw the Melbourne Storm become interested in this player that's now been let go by two clubs in the space of 2 years. Clearly the Storm are backing their own culture, and we all know how incredible that is, but it's an interesting play.
I look at the Melbourne Storm, we all know they're ruthless. Like, you don't be essentially the best sporting organisation in the country unless you're ruthless. And I've always respected that about them. And, if you've listened to this podcast for any period of time, you know how much of a fan I am of what the Storm have achieved. This gives me a sense of desperation. It really gives me a sense that they are pushing this hard, this quickly for a guy like Lomax, instead of going, okay, yeah, we're interested in Lomax, but, mate, we can't deal with you until you sort of the Eel stuff out. This is the most we're going to offer, and then just walk away from it. But the fact there's an injunction, like, I know Storm fans, they probably don't want to hear this, or maybe they don't agree. But the injunction suggests to me the pressure is coming from the Storm of, like, we are this guy.
Yep.
If you say yes, he'll be here tomorrow or ready to go. That's what it seems like. I don't know for sure. It just seems like that. Like, boys, thoughts on this?
Oh, I don't think calling it a desperate situation is crazy. Like, what's happened in Melbourne in the last few months? It's been ridiculous. As far as, Nass, they've let him go. I think that's a good decision, personally. I think the game's almost outgrown Nass, realistically. Pappy then retires at 26 or whatever he is for his own reasons.
And that relationship was like a bit strange towards the end.
Bit strange, sure. I still expected him to go and play sport somewhere. He's retired. And then you've got Eli Katoa, which was completely out of their control, that they've lost him at least for this year. When all that happens in October, November, there's not many guys available to go and sign. If a Zach Lomax presents itself and they do back in their culture, which they evidently do, I can understand them making this play. I think it is a reality of the circumstances that they find themselves in.
Do you, they probably don't mind that much, but like, to be involved in something that can set a pretty bad precedent across the board. And I know in clubland, you don't have to worry about other teams and that, but it's a pretty dangerous precedent now, because we'll get to it, because the NRL are now kind of involved. Boys, just thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, well, precedent's the key word, right? And you're talking about it from a Melbourne Storm standpoint, but what about the Parramatta Eels who, you know, you just mentioned, Dave, about how in the past their back end, they haven't dealt with things well and they've probably been a bit of a pushover at times, too much information leaked, and they're trying to rebuild their culture and they're setting a precedent that with Zach Lomax, anyone that wants to come and join our club, we're not like we were 5-10 years ago. You don't come into the club, get over it, want to be somewhere else, leave, whatever. And they're making a statement to the rest of the competition. And sorry for the drive-by, Hammy, but you look at the Tigers and what's happened to them in the last decade or so, when the players that have come and gone, they're trying to avoid the same sort of thing happening. And by putting the foot down with Zach Lomax, which they're well within their rights to do, they're setting a precedent. You know, culture starts off the field, not on the field, and this is what Jason Riles is doing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, fellas. There was a CEO's catch-up a couple of weeks ago, just in the first week of January, and the amount of support the Parramatta Eels CEO received from rival clubs over the Eels' stance, to your point. Clubs are very much patting Parramatta on the back for saying, hey, when clubs need to stand for something too here, and contracts need to stand for something as well. And that's... Yeah, we see it. It works both ways, right? We see it. Clubs get rid of a player just as quick as what that player wants to leave the club, you know? So it does work both ways. But in this certain situation where a player is just upping and leaving on his turn, he wanted out.
Yeah.
He's the one that wanted the release. A lot of the rival clubs are saying, well done, Para.
Yeah. Geo drive-by, it is quite nice watching another club have one of these moments, not the Tigers. But what's the big upside for the Eels, Dave? If they take them to court, what's the best possible outcome for them? Is it that Zach Lomax then has to come back and play for the Eels? Doesn't sound like that's probably very likely for that to happen. So what are they hoping to get out of taking them to court?
Well, it's a couple of things. One, it protects that contract of which. He can't play for a rival club unless the rival club provides something in return, and it may force that. It may end the Melbourne Storm interest altogether because, i.e., the request for Stefano Utokumanu, Jack Howarth, or Xavier Coates didn't eventuate. Melbourne aren't prepared to let them go, so the court says, you can't play for Melbourne, Zach. Look, alternatively, there is another play here where it might not be the Melbourne Storm. It might be a club that has a surplus of back rowers or middle forwards that says, hey, Para will help you out here, give you that coverage, and then would you be interested in and maybe Zach goes to that club. So,
okay.
I think, one, they're doing it on principle in relation to the contract, and two, making sure that they get something out of it.
Yep.
I think the principles part of it is really important too, because you want to be seen as a club look, when you come here, we treat you well. We're looking up at the moment, but at the same time, we will not be stuffed around by managers. We will not be pushed around anymore by the big clubs. I know Eels are a big club, but in regards to success, now I guess the final, the Storm Eels against each other, I can almost just write that off as ruthless clubs looking to win premierships. I can go, all right, I don't really agree with Storm's pressure. However, there is an understanding part of it. It's like, listen, we're not mates here. We're here to win premierships. We're going to get it done however we get it done. The third part that it blows my mind that there's even an inclination that the NRL are going to put even slightly the bit of pressure on this because they want to start back in the game. I think that is outrageous. Is that true? Is it just what's going on there?
Yeah, so the NRL are watching. They're you call it a watching brief. They're just watching from. They can't get involved in a court case between club and player. But what they can do is watch from afar. Now, prior to the Eels pressing go on court on taking this legally, the NRL were applying some pressure to Para to say, "Hey, chill out. We just want star players playing in the NRL." And Parramatta have said, no, we're not against Zach Lomax ever playing rugby league again.
We just want something.
We just want to uphold the contract.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt the NRL wants Zach Lomax playing. They do. And
do you think the court case kind of made them go, okay, let's just...
Well, they can't. They can't do anything. They have to sit back now.
Yep.
And may have been a strategy from Parramatta to take the NRL out of it.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll see. There's just one more minor element here, fellas, and what we all know about rugby league is that coaches talk to each other, and certainly coaches who know each other well. So Jason Riles and Craig Bellamy. Now we're seeing a player leave the Parramatta Eels under Jason Riles after 12 months, and I just can't believe that there hasn't been some type of conversation between Riles and Bellamy about what type of player or trainer or attitude or character type of player Lomax is to Craig Bellamy. And for Bellamy to take that leap, I'd be stunned if there hasn't been some communication there.
Yeah.
You know?
Again, I get why they're desperate to a degree, but it just reeks of desperation to me. Like I don't know.
You can't run away from his gun player.
He's a gun.
The catch.
He's a gun, but to go this hard to a point where you're in court now. Like I think about how many clubs have been desperate for a 6 or a 7 or a forward or whatever. Like desperate. They're in the middle of the season. They like the season depends on it, and they would never if the other club said nah, not happening. There's no way it would get to this point.
No.
Like there's just no way.
Yeah.
That's what I just find. Yeah. So.
I think as well, though, to add to the desperate side of it, too, in the last 2 weeks, you've had Nick Meaney join Perth. You've had Wishy join Perth. Like, all of a sudden, like, Wishard's not too... Like, he's 1 or 2 injuries away on any given week from playing centre realistically already in that squad. Like, they kind of need to find someone. It's just a big punt for sure, but I think the timing of it sort of forced their hand to some extent. Can Melbourne, if this doesn't get solved by the 12th or the 13th, whatever it is, can they just walk away from it and go,
of course
we don't want him anymore?
Yeah, of course they can.
I reckon they just know the NRL is going to step in now that it's gone to court. I think they'll wait to that date and go, okay, like they're not losing anything. They're not going to give one of these players, they're not going to give one of these guys, like I've seen so many comments online about just give Jack Howarth. Jack Howarth's a fucking good footballer who they've brought through that system for 6 years. You're not going to hand him over for a guy that's been to 3 clubs in 3 years.
The only thing I'd say is, like, remember a few years ago when Josh Adokar wanted to leave? And the Storm were like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He had to play a whole year there, then go to the Bulldogs. Bulldogs were desperate for Josh Adokar. And so that's where I just go, well, hang on a sec here, guys. Like, there's been moments when other clubs that are doing way worse than you have been desperate for players, and they didn't, agitate the situation so bad that, like, Josh Adokar is not, he's desperate to get out of there. So that's where I just go... I understand the desperation. I do. Yep. Up until a point where I go, you're open a can of worms now where if a future player is disgruntled, you don't have let's say, I don't know, who is it? A young guy coming through at the moment, I don't know, like Fa'alongo becomes their fullback, becomes disgruntled, we all know he is, and Storm go, nah, you're seeing out your contract. It would just reek a bit of like, hang on a sec, like you've just gone to court with this deal.
It would, but it's also, I think from Melbourne's perspective, it's if you've got a good enough system to be able to deal with that, then you can.
But the Eels have a good enough system. Yeah. They've got a strong enough contract. They are taking it so far. It's in court, like unprecedented. We've never been here before. I think there is a point where you're almost riding, like this will come back around eventually. Like there is you'd know better than me, mate. There is an unsung agreement between clubs of how things are supposed to be handled, and
that's where I come back to the 2 coaches.
Yeah,
that's you're spot on, and that happens every day behind the scene. There's there's mate coaches and rival coaches, and there's probably more mate coaches in the game increasingly as the older coaches finish up, the Desies and the likes. These younger coaches coming through, that they all know each other. And Rolsey clearly worked at the Storm. Like he's got great relationships.
He's supposed to be the next head coach.
That's right. So there have to be communication and conversation about this whole situation.
My only other thing that I'd throw up, and I think this will be an unpopular opinion, but I fully appreciate what you guys are saying about Parramatta need to stand up for themselves, that sort of stuff. Like, at what point, if they're going to court and this drags on for X amount of time, like at what point are Parramatta investing more time into a guy that doesn't want to be there than guys that do want to be there? Like, does it not just at some point become an enormous fucking distraction? Like, to me, once again, I understand where you guys are coming from, but I think at some point Parramatta's got to go, okay, we didn't fucking want him here. His behaviour and the way he's carried himself, shouldn't we be focusing on the 30 dudes that do want to be here, that want to win a comp at Parramatta?
I guess you got to weigh up. If they do fold on this, every manager's going to know if you apply enough pressure to the Eels,
That's it.
you will get what you want. Like I think if you spoke to a lot of administrations now, they would say managers are the hardest part of the game.
Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
And I understand what you're saying. Like at the moment, if you sit in court for 4 years with Zach Lomax, you've spent $100,000 or whatever it might be. Maybe it's not. I don't know. The court case is that much, and you don't get anything for it. However, I think the Eels are sitting there going, if we sit here long enough, there will be a club desperate for an outside back that will give us a great forward, a good. There's 17 other clubs.
Has anyone else reached out to Parramatta to try and?
Not at this stage, no.
Probably because they're not going to trump the Storm. Like I think it's the Storm. The fact that this is happening so quickly is because the Melbourne Storm, they're the best in the business. Whereas if like the Tigers came to Lomax and said respectfully, another drive-by, I'm so sorry, said come back. Anyway. Lomax probably wouldn't get a start.
Yeah, Giles Skelton.
Like another piece of this puzzle is the Brumbies were certain they had Lomax to the point where a contract was ready to go.
Yeah.
The Wallabies also thought they had Lomax. If the Tigers, respectfully, we'll say someone else, wherever, I reckon Lomax probably, we'll say Titans.
Yeah.
Even though there's a new era there, just quietly.
Manly.
I reckon he probably signs with the Brumbies and plays for the Wallabies. You know what I'm saying? I think it's the Storm part that is unique about this because they're such a bloody good club. Who wouldn't want to play for the Melbourne Storm? And like, if you're Lomax and you're like, okay, I can wait so that let Eels get a good deal, or I can just put a bunch of pressure and end up at the Melbourne Storm and might win a comp in the next year or two. I think you just stick with. You don't even bother talking to anyone else until that point has to come. Yeah. But like I do get you. At what point is it diminishing returns?
That's why I'm just worried that we're going to spend all fucking season talking about a guy that's not playing for Parramatta when we're talking about Parramatta.
Yeah, great content.
We should be talking about what Riles is building. Mitch Moses back on the field.
No, I'm with you.
Future of the Eels. I
know, I'm with you. I know what you're saying because there is diminishing returns.
I also 100% get where you guys are coming from for sure.
There will be a point where they've just got to go, bro, see you later. Like, okay.
How much time do you invest in this dude that doesn't want to be?
I just think there'd be another club out there in the next 12 months that will be able to move some things around in their cap that is willing to take an absolute superstar. Like, regardless of how everything's been handled, relatively young man-ish to a degree. Like, not that young, but I think there's a lot of clubs that go, you know what, we could take that 220 metres a game, try a game.
Especially you give it 2 to 3 weeks and you don't want to say it, but pre-season games, there's going to be injuries. Rosters are going to change very quickly. Then some goes, shit, we need a Zach Lomax type.
Yeah. So
and just to add a little bit more gravy on the roast lamb.
Love gravy.
Huge gravy man. Huge gravy
man. They play round 1, Melbourne, Parramatta. Now I'm happy to have this retracted, and I apologise in advance if I'm wrong. But if let's just say it gets all cleared, Lomax ends up at the Storm, he will not be allowed to play round 1.
Yeah, surely
against
not.
Parramatta.
Imagine he scores.
I think that's exactly part of why PBL's got involved.
They'll put a block. They'll put a block on him playing against Parramatta.
I'll flip it. If I'm Parramatta and this all plays out and he gets the Storm, I'm saying we're not scared of Zach Lomax. It's like, let's go out, rough him up, belt the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I think that's
let him play. Imagine the ratings of that game.
Yeah, I think that's a bigger statement than saying, we're scared of Zach Lomax. Don't play round 1. You go out there and you rough him up.
The only thing is like it's all well and good to it is true in a perfect world I would have that attitude too, but there is a reality of the fact that Storm pound them at Para Eels, most round 1s, respectfully of course, and I know they're getting better. And what if he scores short tries on you? It'll be so embarrassing for the administration, so embarrassing for everyone if Lomax comes out there and just towels them up, which could happen because he's so good. So it's like, in a perfect world, I love the rhetoric of like, yep, let's go out and bash him, but it's like,
I reckon, I see what you're saying. I think that, say it all eventuates that way and he plays round 1, I think that's the fire in the belly for Jason Riles and the Eels round 1 to go out there and go, let's end this, 22-year streak. Let's smack them to bits.
That'd be great.
They're under strength. I think that is the fuel to the fire.
There's probably never been a better round 1 to play Melbourne, in my opinion.
Well, you break that streak then.
Yeah. And you've got, you got 17 dudes that are running out for Eels. If I'm Jason Riles and going, he thinks she's better than you.
Yeah.
Thinks she deserves better than what you deserve.
No, I'd block him. I would block him. I'd take any smallest advantage. This is the NRL. It's the toughest sporting competition in the world, as far as I'm concerned, and you need every inch, the most minute advantage. And Lomax in Melbourne Storm's team is a better team.
Man,
And so without him, it gives Parramatta a better chance. And if I'm the Eels, I'd block him.
I guess I probably would block him more out of the nah, mate. You had a 4-year deal here. Yeah, okay, you're with the Storm now, but we're just going to flex that last bit of power we have over you. Just say,
hold on. So if they play each other in, I don't know when round 21, is he playing?
maybe. I'm not sure.
They play each other week 1 of finals. Is he playing?
Oh, it has happened in the past where it does go the season, where it's a sit out for the season against the rival.
Imagine if it a lot has to happen, but if it was a grand final, Storm play the Eels in grand final.
Well, all injuries going to plan, I think both teams should be in the top 8. There's a good chance they run into each other at some point.
Yep.
Yeah, there is. I feel like though, if it was, let's say they play each other for their second time in round 22, and the Eels are going well or whatever.
I think one game's enough.
It lessens the blow a little bit. But if you come out round 1 and get towed up by them, it's like, oh shit.
If they were playing them in round 10 for the first time, are we having this conversation about him not playing, or is it the round 1 optics?
I think the first game, regardless of where it is in the season.
See guys at Magic Round.
Fuck yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
Hell yeah. Get him out there.
No wonder PVL wants him back.
Yeah, bloody hell. Ratings.
If I'm the Eels, I'm going, all right, I think Will Warbrick might be in a bit of doubt for round 1. Lomax plays on the wing.
Coates
Storm
Lomax.
kickoffs.
Oh, my God.
Storm
Is he going to be happy with that on the wing? Or?
Too much work for him. Storm kick-off, Eels have their set. I'm saying Mitchy Moses put one on their 40 at Zach Lomax's wing, and I've got Kidioni Kautonga. I'm saying Junior Borlo. I'm like, boys, big chase, flatten him. Let's set the tone.
Well, that's the other thing. If I'm Parramatta, I'm going, okay, Nick Meaney's leaving next year. Bucko's going to have to play centre. I know that's going to piss him off. Let's see how Melbourne handle that.
Rugby League, the greatest game of all. Thanks so much for joining us, Dave. Really do appreciate it. Code Sports. Go to codesports.com.au/bloke. Use your code. Get your discount. Best stories. It's only sport. No other nonsense. It's all just sport, guys. So make sure to support people that support us. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, boys.
And you got an Instagram in that now, don't you? With the people can follow you?
I'm on the gram.
Yeah, on the gram. Just Dave Riccio?
David_Riccio1.
Okay, give him a follow. Because I remember watching your updates last year in Vegas with the Sharkies. Liked it, mate. Liked it.
Thank you, brother.
So there you go. Mate, thank you. Boom. Alrighty, it is time for our KO can't miss moment. And the KO can't miss moment. First of all, you can't miss Alex Volkanovski's fight this Sunday. Get on KO, get on main event, the best in the biz. But the KO can't miss moment. Tom Flegler, cleared to return from his shoulder injury that happened essentially 2 years ago. He should be good to go in the preseason challenge. His last game was 2024 round 4, almost 2 full years out of the game. And the Kevy Walters podcast, Inside Ball, is it? Actually had Flegler on a couple of years ago or a year ago or whatever. And just hearing the story of initially there was nerve damage, but that the last point of call would be to take the nerve out. So they tried to get it to recover, but it didn't. So he had to take some nerve from his tricep, put it into his shoulder. Then it's a really slow process. It's not like a normal shoulder Rico that's like, 6 to 9 months or whatever. To see his journey back, I cannot wait to see him play. I think obviously keep expectations measured. He's been quite a while out of the game and he's such a physical player. But I am so happy for him. I'll never forget the first time I met Flegler, and I just, when you're a young fella, you probably don't appreciate these things. But as you get older, remember when I was a young Bronco, if I had saw it next Bronco, I would have been probably too nervous to go out and shake their hand. I would have been like, that's just whatever. I just been too nervous. I remember I went to a hotel where the Broncos boys were staying, and this is when they were struggling and what things weren't going great. And the first bloke down there was Flegler. Walked straight up, shook my hand, said, "Mate, come up to the team room." And I just love that kind of old school mentality of just coming up, saying hi. Didn't kind of duck his head down, go into the hotel or whatever. Brought me up to the team room, and I just from that moment on, I've just been such a Flegler fan. And then obviously you add into all his rugby league. Absolutely incredible player. And I think that people have really forgotten that this guy is a dog.
Well, mate, essentially one of the last games he played, maybe the last game he played, was for the Kangaroos.
Yeah.
He's an Australian front row forward.
Yep.
And to the Dolphins' credit, they've managed to get by without that. You add him back in. I don't know if he's going to be 100% of what he was. If he's 70%, that's still a damn good player, and he's young. If it takes him a year or so to get back to it and then he improves, they're flying all of a sudden.
Them at full strength is like, wow.
They're at full strength right now. Once you add him in, I went through it the other day. I'm trying to find a spot for Felice Kafusi in my side.
Yeah.
which is crazy.
That's crazy to say. A team that's like 3
and if
years.
he's in, he's probably my captain. But I don't know if I can find a spot for him.
Mate, that's how good Flegler is.
Especially given you just got your hair cut like him as well.
He got his haircut like that.
Yeah, obviously. And I think with Flegler, like, there was a period this is how good Flegler was. There was a period there, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, that there was a lot of New South Welshmen going, oh, fuck, they got another enforcer front rower that's going to be a problem for us for the next decade. That's how good Flegler was. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but that's what it felt like to me.
Well, they do, the Maroons have one, and he will be, provided, of course, as said, you temper expectations a little bit, but he's a gun. And if he can come back, and maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes 2 years to get back to his best, but, fingers crossed that he can, and he's a Maroon starter for the next 5-10 years sort of thing. He said he's not old, and just being back in the game and back on the field, it's such a win for, I've never met him, but as you said, mate, sounds like one of the real good guys in the competition, and wonderful news for the Dolphins, who are just stacked. I cannot wait to see how they go this season.
Okay. Can't wait to see how they go, eh?
Okay. I've been on them since day dot. This is the year that they
It was death riding them. He wanted them out of the comp.
No, you're delusional, mate. What are you talking about? So, look, I'm trying to say something nice about Tom Flegler, and you're trying to turn it.
Mate, the banana picker, mate. He's an absolute gun. I think, and you got to be honest, like, if there was, look, and obviously the Broncos were stacked, but if there was one thing missing since the 2023 grand final, they were missing his mongrel, I reckon. Now, granted, they've got it back and it's, they've won the premiership, but I reckon they struggled a bit after that to find that. Obviously, they've got Haas that's going to do what Haas does that no one else can do. They've got Paddy Carrigan that's also similar-ish to Haas in the sense that he'll get through his work. But there were times where they missed a guy shooting up out of the line that could go toe-to-toe with your Leotas and Fish in the aggression department. I'm not putting him in the same level as Leota and Fish as a partnership, but I do think that he's a guy that would meet them in the trench and go, let's see how we go here. I don't know if he'd win, but he'd definitely meet them there, especially as a young forward. Mate, what are your thoughts on Flegler?
Yeah, I mean, great to have him back in the mix. Obviously, his quality is unquestionable. 100 first grade games, played a couple of origins, of course, for Australia too. But if you get him back, somewhere near his best, that pack is. You mentioned Fleece, he's probably still there around about the mark. Daniel Saifidi in there as well, had a good year last year. I thought Francis Molo was great as well. So, they got some big boppers in there.
Gilbert as well.
Tom Gilbert as well.
Plath.
Yep. So they've got a serious engine room there.
Well, there's a world where they run out with Flegler, Saifidi. Plath doesn't make the starting side, maybe?
I think Plath's out for the first 4 weeks. The other thing is this Morgan Knowles. They reckon he's blowing it away up there. So they reckon he'll start in 13.
Yep.
And then Plath will come back in, is it round 4, round 5 for Plath?
Kind of earn his way back.
Yep.
I think Jeremy Marshall-King's out for the first 7 weeks, so Donahoe's going to play hooker. So once JMK's back, Donahoe's probably your 14. Morgan Knowles goes back to the bench, and from all reports, they feel confident playing him at 13 to start the season.
Gilbert, prop or edge, or what's the...
Well, that's the thing. I think they've got so many options that they... Like, I've seen teams that have got Plath on the edge, Gilbert on the edge. Like, you've got Lemuelu there. You've got... there's so many guys in that team. And, you have a look at the back line. Realistically, when they're all fully fit, there's a good chance Trey Fuller isn't going to be in the side, because Miso will probably be the fullback. Once Bostock's fit, you're going to have to leave out one of Bostock, Cobbo, or Jermaine Osaka.
Well... There's a chance Herbie and Selwyn Cobbo are the best combination at the end of 2026.
Yep.
There is a chance that they are the best centre wing combination by a while. That's how much talent. But I mean, we've got the back-to-back Dally M centre in the year. That, in my opinion, in regards to pure form, is just pipping Critter. I still have Critter as a better centre. And then you've got Selwyn Cobbo, who we saw what he can do in Origin. This guy is an absolute... I think he's another guy that, because he was in and out of the side, and there's obviously a lot of stuff going on for him in the last year of the Broncos. This guy, at his best, is $1 million player at fullback, at his best.
Yeah. And if they just have, when we get to our season preview in a week or two...
we'll record it next week, midweek, and then we'll release it February 9th. Oh, yeah, there you go. February 9th, we're releasing the season preview, guys, so... Set your schedules.
I am so keen to see where we've all got the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Because if it all goes to plan, they finished 9th last year, nothing went to plan. if it all goes to plan for them, they could explode.
They could be top 4.
They could be top 4.
I don't have them in my top 4, but I wouldn't. They're not a team where I go, no, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? That's how and it's that key position of Katoa. I think the only thing is you'd need another. Anyway, we'll get into season preview.
But I think when you look squad wise 1 to 30, it's probably a top 5 roster for me.
It's a bloody good roster. We'll get to it though. We'll get to it in the season preview. That's just a little teaser. See how exciting that is. So yeah, Thomas Flegler, he is back. Can't wait. All I'd say is temper your expectations. Give him some time. Don't expect if he might come out the gate and be unbelievable, but just build into it. I think you'll probably see. I'd assume reduced minutes for the first half of the season, maybe even coming off the bench. Just to make sure he's eased all the way into it.
It's the greatest sign of how much of a good spot the Dolphins are in that I'm sitting here going, if I don't see the best of Flegler in 2026, it's fine.
Yep, build into next year.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the KO Carmiss moment, guys. All right, now on to the next topic. I just hear apologies, 2 seconds. Alrighty, Crichton to rugby, plus the Roosters war chest, apparently, allegedly, reportedly, all that good stuff. From 2027 onwards, they would have farewelled 14 players over the past 2 seasons, including Angus Crichton, who've just lost to rugby union. What big name will the Roosters sign? Where is it? I mean, this isn't necessarily conspiracy areas. I'm going to put it on anyway because I want to make a prediction. I reckon Tino ends up at the Roosters 2027. I reckon that a lot of clearing of the deck has been for a big signing, and I think Tino probably is going to be that guy.
Is there? I mean, my immediate thought that it'll probably line up with the retirement of James Tedesco.
Yeah, you'd say that he'd probably be on his. I guess he's going so freaking well.
Yeah. Just on James Tedesco too, something that I saw random stats guy put up the other day. When you think about his Tigers days, Hammy, the amount of injuries and everything he had. If he plays every game that he's meant to play this year, he's going to enter the 300 club in round 27. Isn't that amazing when you consider...
What a story.
I can't remember when the Roosters signed him going, fuck, he never plays.
Yeah. Crazy.
300 games, the way that he plays it is incredible.
And out of those 300 games, how many bad games are you looking at? 20?
3.
Even when you reflect back on that season where we were like, oh, he's out of form. He
was still good.
8th in the Dally.
Yeah, it was still good. It just wasn't his level.
Yeah.
But as I said, I don't have any inside information or whatever. They are clearing the decks. There's going to be some big signing. And I look at Tino and I know Tino's probably waiting to see how the Gold Coast new era is, to see... we looked at the whole Jerome Luai situation. Everyone was kind of negging on him because he had these options, and we're just like, what the hell? He has every right to see how things go. I think Tino's in a similar-ish boat. You look at the Titans and how it's been. And so, I don't know. I just get this feeling that there's going to be a big signing in the next 12 months or so.
Yeah, maybe they'll make a play at Zach Lomax.
So, boys... Any first before we get in the Crichton situation, any thoughts on the Tino situation? I know it's way out, but he hasn't committed to the Titans yet. Thoughts?
I still think he'll end up back at Melbourne eventually.
Yeah, okay.
That was one thing that I took from being over there at that Kangaroo tour. Tino and Harry Grant were inseparable over there the entire time.
Even if Bellyache retires?
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying that for 12 years.
Yeah.
I don't know when Bellyache's going to retire. I don't think he's going to retire until he wins another comp, personally. But, yeah, I've always had in my mind that he'll go back to the Melbourne Storm, but the Roosters' shoe never doesn't fit, realistically.
I'm to look at that forward pack. Obviously, you've got White. Lindsay Collins will probably be retired by then, maybe, or at least 2027, you'll be at 32, 33 there.
Got a lot of young guys there, like Feketi, VAR, Blake Steep. They have a lot of guys who come through. Yeah, Lenu still. Yeah, so...
there's been a bit of smoke there before, though, hasn't there? Even last year, there's a bit of chat. Roosters, Tino. I could see it happening. You look good in a Roosters jersey.
He would look good in a Roosters jersey.
Well, they could
Not
very
that
easily
factor into it, but he would.
I don't think the money would be an issue because they'd free up probably DCE coin, and you said potentially some Teddy coin, depending how that plays out, the Angus Crichton coin. I don't think money would be an issue if they want him enough. I was a bit like you. In my head, I just see him going back to the Storm. It just fits. They're looking for a middle enforcer, I think, especially with Nas gone. I've always seen him going back there, but, I mean, it could be anywhere.
The only reason why I've gone a bit cold on the Storm is it hasn't happened. Like, I feel like with how desperate they were for Fitzgibbon, they got, who's a big fella from the Knights again? Hetherington. They got Moali for a year as well.
Yep.
I just thought, and I know that he's still 27 when he leaves, I just thought it had already kind of been done. Like,
Yeah, the only thing that I would say to that, and I've had 2 conversations with Tino in my life, he comes across to me to be the sort of guy. It wouldn't shock me if he is giving Josh Hannay every opportunity to show. Maybe this is.
And I want to be clear, I want that to be the case.
Yeah,
I don't want him to. I think we all agree we want him to be at the Titans and Titans be successful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I want that to happen. I do really respect Tino's, I guess, commitment to giving Hannay an opportunity and this new administration opportunity. But I just get a little bit worried that, you know, how far away are they from genuine premierships? Whereas if the Roosters come out red hot, get to a GF this year, or the Melbourne Storm or whatever, you know, like, is it going to be too tempting? Because Tino's like 26 or so now, I think, 27.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're gonna win another comp, it's probably going to happen this next contract.
So
25.
25.
When do you see him, if he was to go to the Roosters, do you see him landing there for
27.
27. Yeah, okay.
And what's like, we're in this next year. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the Rugby World Cup is in 27, isn't it?
Yes. Because and that's why, like, I was really hot on the Storm, but I just assumed it would have been done by now, like that, because it's so
Well, for all
obvious.
you know, it might be.
Yeah, it's fair point. Fair point. You know, a Storm. Anyway, we'll just move on from the. You know,
Do we see Mark, Suoli, these guys? Do we see them going back to the Roosters after this World Cup?
Huge chance.
Yes.
I don't know about Mark. I think he'll continue to get his big coin around the world. Suoli, though, I think probably will come back.
He signed, like, was it 5 years or was it not that long with ARU?
Essentially till after the World Cup.
Huge
And also Angus Crichton has a clause in his contract, I think, that after the World Cup he can go back to the NRL if he wants to, even though he's signed for the Union. But anyway, let's get to the Union situation. And also, this is a service of the week brought to you by Aspley Mazda, guys. The X Rental Sale. Buy any CX-3 or CX-5 from Aspley Mazda X Rental Sale, and one lucky person will be gifted a truly unique experience. A day at the footy in a corporate suite with ex-NRL legends Alex Glenn and Driveaway. I'll be there as well, hosted by Luke Camilleri, the car man. So the good thing about the CX-3s and CX-5s, they look new, feel new, drive like new, but aren't priced or new. All models are under 20,000 kilometres. 2024 CX-5 G20 Maxx, 32,844 Driveaway, and the 2024 CX-3 Pure is 27,385 Driveaway. Give Lukey a follow, LDC_01. Even if you're not even interested in the CX-5 or the CX-3, you want a different type of car, he is the man to speak to. So many people have used him, never ever heard anything but positive things about how good he is at what he does. I used him. I got my cars with Lukey. Massive shout out to Lukey. But yeah, Angus Crichton leaving. It almost feels a little bit like this was always, it just felt like it was always nearly going to happen, and it never really did happen. And it felt like almost destiny that he would end up in Union. So I'm not really that surprised at all. Like, you know, if you go and watch his highlights, his Union highlights are unbelievable, like unbelievable. You know, he played a lot of Union growing up. I'm not really that surprised, to be honest. I guess the only thing I would say is, you know, if the Roosters didn't throw enough money at him to keep him, maybe. But I feel like the World Cup, and he's earned decent coin for a bit now, is probably too big of a pull for him.
Yeah, and I don't know, people probably won't expect me to say this, but I was the same. I expected him to go there, and he's going there. I'm not upset about it.
No, I'm not either.
It's a home World Cup. I know we're leagueies, but, you know, I think you always think leagueies, they all hate Union. I want Union to do better than what it is right now.
Mate,
I don't want Union to be a tyre fire. Like 2003 when we hosted that Rugby World Cup, it was unreal. Hot tip. We had a heap of leagueies in that side. League survived. It was okay. I'm be more than happy for that calendar year for a couple of leagueies to go over there because it's a World Cup on home soil. I want it to be entertaining. I want to see what the leagueies can do over there.
Well, I think it's a quiet majority that feels the same way as well. Like, I think that the games are like they're similar-ish to a degree, but I think you'd find most leagueies, they can stomach a good game of Union. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they'll watch it every week or whatever, but I feel like when Australia's playing, it's on TV, they'll be like, yeah, I can watch this. So I'm with you, mate. Tim, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have been more surprised if Angus Crichton didn't go, to be honest. Like, with his background, and obviously went to Scots College in Sydney, very famous rugby union school, spent a lot of time there, was obviously a gun rugby union player coming through, and I just think it makes sense at his age, where I'd imagine he'll be going over there to a very good wicket with an opportunity to play in a home World Cup. It makes complete sense, and wouldn't shock me if there was a few more that went by the time, so we get to the end of the year.
Well, I wish Lomax had a sign. I really do. Like, I really would have loved to have seen.
Made sense for 2 years. Like,
yeah,
let's do it.
I would have loved to have seen Lomax playing for the Wallabies in 2027 World Cup.
So
I wonder if that's completely off the table.
I don't think it'd be off the table.
Yeah.
Surely not. Especially with the Parra now digging their heels in. So I think there possibly be more to go. I think we'll see a few people have a crack at it and come back after the game. Crichton is one that I can see him getting into the ARU and finishing. Obviously, he's a little bit older and finishing his career there and probably going over and getting some extra money in France or Japan, that sort of stuff. I'd be more surprised if he did come back, but yeah, good luck to him.
It's a tough one because like Suoli's on a good wicket, and the turnaround of Union in the short term has been quite good to my understanding. Is it Phil Wall that's running it?
Yep.
Former Wallabies player. So good on him, because that the game was almost dead. Like they were, I think it was $200 million in debt or some shit, or $80 million. They owed like a bank or whatever. I think that's all paid down now, and we still haven't even gotten to the World Cup. I see Suoli come back to league just because I feel like there's a lot of unfinished business. But in saying that, like when you see the games they have over in Europe and the crowds and that's a big pull for a guy that's already on decent coin. Thoughts, mate? Thoughts on the Crichton and Suoli situation?
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. I reckon I could see it probably coming. Just there's been a lot of chat about it for a long time. Home World Cup kind of makes sense. I think his partner might be from the UK as well. I don't know whether that factors into things, and maybe a prolonging career over there as well, raising a family there maybe as well. But he's achieved a lot. Won a comp, won Origin series. I don't think he leaves with any kind of like bad blood or anything. I think from the reporting around it, the way that people are speaking about it, it feels like the Roosters are kind of like he kind of always goes with their blessing a little bit.
Yep.
Would always be welcome back. But
their relationship, he's always been. I mean, and granted they were there for him too, but at least in the last few years, he's been pretty loyal to them.
Yep.
Because they basically signed David Fafita over him, and he would have had to go. Yeah. To my understanding, for Fafita to arrive.
Yeah, had the season of his life then, didn't he? Won the Blues best player, but yeah, interesting one. It'd be interesting to see how it pans out over there. A lot of league players that have gone over and succeeded have been generally outside backs. He'll play probably inside centre or something like that. That'll be interesting to see how he kind of.
Yeah,
but he's obviously done it before, but
yeah. But like when he did it before, was that inside centre? Like I think there's a.
Well, he's number 12, I think.
Yeah,
it's inside centre. Right? Yeah. So there's also been like I've seen some of the articles I've read that he could play in the forward pack. Like guys that I've spoken to that know their union reckon that would be a very, very tough task.
Yeah.
For him in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be ready for that, like as far as set plays and lineouts and all that sort of stuff goes, but. Even if I'm the Wallabies playing a home World Cup and I've got Angus Crichton sitting on my bench, I can inject him for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And all it does is like when you speak to union players about this, or union fans, their concern is that some of their better players are in the centres at the moment. So I
think that is the worry.
Yeah. But it can only help. More pressure on positions makes everyone better.
Yeah. Just because he's there doesn't mean he has to play, but he can put pressure on other guys.
No. I think that more pressure, the better. And you never know with injuries too.
I think as well, the other, like with Mark heading back over there, like I was talking to someone the other day, I was like, I don't know if Mark will make the Wallabies. I'm like, mate, the Wallabies have a home World Cup and they're not picking Nwangani Tuase. I'll fucking give it away.
Geez, they would have to have, look, unless his form just drops dramatically, but they would have to be stacked to be not picking a guy like Nwangani Tuase. And granted, I know he was already there, and I think he fell a little bit out of the Wallaby side to a degree, but many years ago now.
He was young, though. He was, if Angus goes over there and they've got too many inside centres or whatever and he doesn't quite make the starting team, sure, but if Mark doesn't, something's gone wrong there.
Because he was already part of the Wallaby squad when he was 19, 20, wasn't he? So it's like...
Yeah, he's already played at a World Cup.
Yeah. That was brought to you by Ashley Mazda. Give Lukey a follow, LDT_1. And also, this is all powered by Lontel Internet, guys. If you're a business and you need internet, Lontel is the best in the biz. Got some really, really fun plans this year with Lontel, guys. The internet, honestly, I got it at home, best ever. Said a million times. You guys know it. If you need internet, speak to Lontel. It doesn't take forever to get done. They've got the best customer service in the business. Give it a try. Trial it. No contracts, free trials. No credit card needed. Nothing to lose, and you will not be disappointed. Alrighty, a massive thank you to 4 Wheel Drive Outdoor Super Centre. 4 Wheel Drive Super Centre is an Australian-owned family business that started to make off-roading camping affordable for everyone. How do they do this? With wholesale prices. Their website will be in the show notes, but go to 4wheeldrivesupercentre.com.au. That's 4WD, Supercentre with an A. You will see so many different products, including 12-volt camping setups, which are batteries and the gear associated with them, and fridges and freezers, which are the same product. They just do both. Depending on the temperatures you set them to. There are so many more products, including lithium batteries, vehicle drawers, swags, camping gear, plus more. Not only that, they have constant sales and bundle deals for many of their products. It's a complete disruption of the off-road and camping industry, bringing overpriced products down, and the winners here are you. Get behind this Australian-owned family business. They do all their own R&D, testing in Queensland, Australia, to ensure products meet the specs we expect and are fit for the Aussie market. The link is in the show notes. If you need anything camping or outdoors related, 4 Wheel Drive Super Centre is for you, because seriously, these are unbelievable prices. It's Luke Metcalf. He's aiming to be back to the Warriors round 7, while Barnett is aiming for round 2. We saw how good they were last year. How far can the Warriors go this year? The Warriors are dark horse to win the comp. But Luke Metcalf being back for round 7, guys, and Mitch Barnett. We'll get more of it in the preview. But I guess with the Warriors, give a little hook and tease for the season preview. How excited are you from this year?
I think those first 7 weeks without Metcalf will be telling.
Okay.
I think if they can get through that with an even record, I feel okay about the Warriors as far as playing finals.
Little hook and tease.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine through that period, because their depth there is so good. They've got like Chanel Harris-Tavita, Tanner Boyd, Tamari Martin. These are their options without their starting 7 in Luke Metcalf. So again, I don't know if any of these guys I don't think any of these guys are as good as Luke Metcalf, particularly at his best, but in terms of backups to get you through that first part of the season, and it'll also allow Metcalf to probably return. I'll try and get him a game or two in the Cup just to get the K's back in the legs after a pretty serious injury. But yeah, I think they'll be fine. I'm excited to see who actually plays in the halves prior to Metcalf coming. Just Tamari Martin forces his way into the team. They'll probably go with Harris-Tavita and Tanner Boyd as they did the back end of last year. But
I'm with you, boys. I just think that I can't wait to see all the depth coming through. They won the New South Wales Cup. They won the Interstate Cup. Like, we're talking about a team that's depth for days in essentially every position. So we'll get to that more in the season preview, guys. But it's good to hear. Good with Luke Metcalf and Barnett.
And just like one other little teaser too. Like I look at the Warriors, how they ended last season without Metcalf, and go, it'll fall apart a little bit. He got injured in round 17. They were in 4th. They finished 6th.
I know. It's just...
And that's Tanner Boyd thrown in all of a sudden. At least he's going to have a preseason now.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, just the impact of them not making the 4. Like, Broncos don't win the comp if they don't make the 4. Like, it really was a defining...
huge sliding doors moment. Metcalf probably wins a Dally M if he stays.
Yeah.
Like, it changes everything.
Changes so much. Alrighty, boys. Out of Newcastle. Actually, before we get to Newcastle, I want to talk about the best forward pack in the competition. Grumpy Coffee's got a new blend of Grumpy Coffee coming out next week for Valentine's Day. Stay tuned for that. We'll be releasing images of it later in the week. Next Monday, February 2nd, that goes on sale. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty. And also, we do ship to New Zealand as well. Now, obviously, we can't go through every forward pack, but let's talk about who has the best forward pack. Let's talk about, the pros and cons, size, power, speed, fitness, discipline. Roo, I'll throw to you first, mate. Give us a few forward packs that you think are vying for the best forward pack in the comp 2026.
I think straight away the Raiders stand out to me. Tarpanay, Papali'i, got Hudson Young on one edge. I love Zach Hosking. I think he's very underrated. Even Matty Nicholson, he really came on. If you want to include, which they are part of the forward pack, they've got Tom Starling, who I'd argue form-wise was probably a top 5 or 6 hooker last year. You got Jaden Brayley, got a young guy in Owen Paddy. So the Raiders, for me, pretty automatic standout. I like the Canterbury pack now that they've got Leo Thompson added in there. And I mean, it's hard to go past any pack that has Payne Haas, realistically.
Because Broncos, we saw them at full strength last year with Piakora, Riki playing some good footy, Haas, Jensen. Xavier Willison was one of the best forwards in the final series when he did play as well. So you got David Wilson a year older. They're probably starting with Willison, Haas next year. Then you got, is it Takura, the young fella, the big young bopper? Like their starting front row will be Haas, Willison, Carrigan.
The other one that I think gets underappreciated, which not on this podcast, but is South Sydney as well. Like you're probably going to have Adam Elliott, Ewan Aitken, Brandon Smith coming off a bench. That's unreal.
Craziness. I mean, Adam Elliott might not even be in the side.
There's a good chance Cheese will be in the side, but I think one of Ewan Aitken or Adam Elliott probably will miss. They'll be 18th man.
Yep. Timmy, who are you talking about, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Roos sort of named the obvious ones there. The Raiders, they probably don't have the big names outside of Joe Tarpany, Hudson Young, obviously, but that's a lot to do with, being sort of hidden away down there in Canberra. They don't necessarily get the spotlight that other clubs do. Last year, I think they were forced into headlines because of the season that they had, but a fantastic one, very well balanced, and the big factor in this is, of course, just depth as well. And they've got depth for days, and, I've sort of harped on about the Bunnies a fair bit, but, you look at their starting pack, Jai Arrow, I know he's getting on a little bit, but, an Origin player in Jai Arrow, Mamazelos, probably the weaker link in their pack, but, again, with so many attacking weapons, defend and give good service, that's all he really needs to do. Keon, one of the best front row middles in the game now. Tallis Duncan had his breakout year last year. Dave Fafita, we know what he can do. Cameron Murray, arguably the best lock in the game.
Jeez, Cam Murray is talk about the forgotten man to a degree. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I mean, this guy isn't just influential in the Rabbitohs. Any Origin series he plays, you guys essentially win.
Yep.
In Australia as well, we go so much better with him in the side. Cam Murray coming back into the team. Also, obviously you don't want a guy to get injured, but just to have that rest that his body probably needed, he might have the best year of his career.
For longevity, not a bad point, just to give him a spell. And, their bench could look anything like, Brandon Smith, Lachlan Hubner, Tavita Totola, Ewan Aitken. Ewan Aitken's been a favourite of Wayne Bennett for a long time, and an 80-minute edge back rower, flat out making the team because of the depth they've got. That's not including an Adam Elliott.
Tallis Duncan last year was, what do you reckon, last 5 rounds, was he top 3 back rows in the comp?
I'd go further. I'd go last 10 rounds. He was unreal for the last 3 months. He was killing it. I think he was probably the form back row of the last 10 weeks of last season.
Unbelievable.
Even this week at South, Latrell Mitchell's carrying some sort of calf thing that I don't think is too bad, but they're resting him. He's been playing centre in all their training centres.
Mate, he was so good at centre.
He was so good there that now they're sort of
as well.
We've got so many back rowers. Yeah. Can plug you and Aitken on the edge, and Tallis could jump in.
And the other one we've had there that they're a little bit like the Raiders in that they probably don't have the big names that stand out, but talking depth is the club we spoke about earlier, it was the Dolphins and their pack, and we sort of went through what that might look like. But with Tommy Flegler now back in the mix as well, they have pretty close to the best forward depth in the competition. Unreal.
I want to say a smoky, and I'll throw to you, Hammy. And this is going to sound silly, but I just watched their training the other day, and I'm like, if Hetherington and Moali can play to their potential, when was the last time you saw the Storm with 3 front rowers that have top tierish potential? It's been quite a while, really, And so, let's say they run out with, I'd assume King would start, but I mean, there's a world where Moali just breaks out down at the Storm, and they're starting with Stefano and Moali. We saw how good Stefano last year for most of the year was one of the better forwards in the competition, form-wise. I know they're missing Katoa, I really do, but when I talk about, I'm not talking about they'll be the best forward pack in the comp, but I do think that they actually might surprise a few people when you actually look at that roster of what the Storm can do with players with less talent than Hetherington and Moali.
Yeah, for sure. Depth is just going to be their only thing. That's my one concern with that pack. But realistically, when was the last time Melbourne Storm had the best pack in the comp? Mate, I'd argue never, realistically.
I mean, probably when they were Bromwich in his prime, both Bromwich brothers, Kafusi in his prime, they were one of the best packs in the competition.
Yeah, but I don't think they've ever been standout one, despite being a top 4 team for 2.5 decades in a row.
Maybe 2007, 6, 7, 8, around there with the Crockers and that, maybe. Again, I'm just, throwing stuff out there.
Even back then, it was still, for me, I always thought the Manly pack was probably better than them. It was just the class of the Melbourne spine that got them over the line. I think Melbourne are in a better spot than what people are expecting.
That's my point.
Yes.
That's my point. Yeah, I'm not putting them up there as the best forward pack guys. I'm talking more in and I'm probably more just talking out loud my own thought process, because I was sitting there going, probably a few weeks ago, going, oh my God, the Storm, just so many things have happened there. But then I was watching their training. I'm going, fucking Mawali's down there. You got Hetherington, we know what he can do. The Storm system. You got Stefano, who is going to be even better this year after what he did last year, in my opinion. He's found his identity as a forward. You've got Trent Lioro, who, I know, grand final, whatever. In Origin, he was friggin' really, really good for Queensland, and I think that he's more of the probably one of the more underrated 13s in the competition. He's not necessarily like your Cam Murrays or your Paddy Carrigan. Oh, maybe a little bit closer-ish to Paddy Carrigan, but he's more like of a defensive 13, really. Yeah. And so, I just look at it and I go, let's say Mawali just hits the talent that we all know he can. There's a world where Stefano and Mawali are just and Trent Lioro are, rolling through teams.
Yeah, and I think because of the way Souths have used Mawali over the last few years, he probably is a little underappreciated. Like he's doing his 6th first-grade preseason. Doesn't feel like to me he's been around that long.
Yeah, and he's 22, 23 now?
Yeah, he's 23 in a few weeks.
Yeah, and so we saw Stefano, the level he went to with just half a year, really, at the Storm. I just wonder, I don't have him at the top, but I just think they might surprise a few people, that Storm pack. Hammy?
Yeah, I think you guys covered off on some good ones. I have the Raiders as the top pack. I thought they were outstanding last year before as well. But a couple of others that stack up pretty well. I actually think the Warriors got at full strength when everyone's fit and healthy. Fish, Barnett, Lecker, Nia Corey, Aaron Clark had an outstanding year last year. Great addition for them. Then you've got guys like Capewell, Ford, kind of a little bit of depth there as well. They've obviously lost a couple. Bunty Afoe has gone to the Tigers and whatever. But I feel like their top 6 or 7 forwards can go with pretty much most packs.
Yep.
Chooks are good as well. They've got some big names in there as well. Probably not quite to the level of some of the other ones, but a lot of rep players kind of through their squad. They've got a lot of couple of good young guys coming through as well. But I think probably the Warriors, the one that you probably haven't touched on in the ones you guys were just talking about, that I reckon could probably mix it with them.
I think the other one that we haven't mentioned is the Sharkies too, because mate, during that final series, the way that Billy Burns, Jesse Colquhoun, that next generation, the way that they stepped up, the moment Cam McInnes got injured last year, I went, okay, Sharkies are done. Mate, they got the finals. It's like they weren't missing Cam McInnes.
Yeah, crazy. Sharks super interesting. Cannot wait to get them in the preview, that's for sure. Look, I think if at the Broncos, I think that if Pia Cora can continue what we saw a bit towards the back end, because the edges is probably their I wouldn't say weakness, but when you're talking about best forwards packs in the comp and you compare it to, say, like a Hudson Young or whatever, when I look at just the middle, though, with Willison, the way he came on last year, with Haas, obviously, and Carrigan, I think there's a world where Broncos forward pack mixes it at the top tier, top 3 forward packs, maybe 1 or 2, depending on if Ricky can have another good solid year like he did last year, if Pia Cora can just stay on the field for long enough to build a bit of a foundation. I do really like the forward. There's a world where the Broncos forward pack is actually better than it was last year.
I think with Oblix it will be better. They had that news come out the other day that it looks like Piakura is going to miss the first few weeks.
Oh, fuck me. Well, I mean, Oblix
I reckon Oblix is going to come in and really blow it away. I reckon he's going to put serious pressure on both those boys.
Yeah, which is what they need.
I reckon he'll be the talking point out of the World Club Challenge.
Who do you think will start with Haas in the front row?
I think Willison.
Okay.
I say that, but Jensen does such a good job at just laying the platform.
Yeah, I don't think it's broken. I don't think you need to fix it.
But the only reason I say Willison is because he's getting older. He will want that starting spot. It's a natural progression for him to become the main man. It's going to happen. Whether it's this year or next year, it might be next year that it happens.
I also think, though, the game has just changed so much, and especially when you're playing with Payne Haas, that I think you are better suited. I think it does more for the Broncos to have Willison coming off the bench.
Yeah, with the impact.
I think so too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, fair.
I think back in the day it was your biggest and your toughest start. It's just not the reality anymore.
Yeah, okay.
The game's won in 4 20-minute periods, realistically.
Okay, fair. Look, I think if we were to do a vote or whatever, we'd probably all Raiders got the best pack.
Yep.
You look at depth and everything, and a guy like Hosking might not even be starting. Nicholson, we saw how good he was when he was playing. Their edges of Nicholson at his best, Hudson Young at his best, outstanding. Tarpanair doesn't get anywhere near the credit he deserves. I guess the only kind of little bit of a knock would be Papali'i is a year older.
Yep.
You've got Ata Mariota there that has done a job. Is that would you say Tarpane? Who's your other front rower, Timmy?
You got Corey Horsburgh too.
Yep, at 13. He'll be front. Oh, they mixed.
Well, they sort
Tarpane
of
basically
play the
plays
same
like a
way.
friggin' front rower, but anyway, he's 13, named 13.
I think that's also what makes them such a good forward back is that you do play that real power forward sort of game.
Yeah, it's not complicated.
Yeah.
Just bash the front door down.
So is your starting pack Horsburgh, Papali up front with Tarpane at 13?
Well, Tarpany at 10, Horsburgh at 13. But
Okay.
Yeah.
But they play him at 13, don't they?
Nah, Taps is front row.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Red
Why do I
Dog,
think that?
13.
I felt like they tried the Red Dog at 13.
I think that year that Corey Horsburgh was off the radar, Tarpane was playing.
Yeah,
for that
okay,
team, but
okay.
I think
I don't know what I'm
I think Horsburgh's the better fit there personally.
Yeah, he's in.
Oh, no, he plays 13 for New Zealand.
Yeah, and Horsburgh's he's quite a good, bit of an underrated ball player like Linkman, the Red Dog. He's got his hands are all right.
Who you got? Let's say they do start Wilson. Who you got? Tarpane, Papa,
Yep.
Horsburgh, or Haas, Willison, Carrigan? See, I've got Haas, Willison, Carrigan. In that three.
Yeah,
Maybe it's my Broncos bias. I don't know.
I think those two forward packs, you put them head to head on any given day, either of them can win. It's that tight for me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think it's the edges that they get us.
Very tight
100%,
middles.
yes.
Yeah, we the Raiders get you on the edges, and then just depth off the bench. We've got so much quality depth.
Yeah, that's fair. We've got like Atamori, like so much so that you can Trey Mooney can leave.
Yeah.
Shows you how much depth you got. But we'll get into a full deep dive and what our benches are, what our starting is in the season preview, guys. Talking about the forwards, that turns our frown upside down. Grumpy Coffee, as I said earlier, guys. Valentine's Day. Stay tuned for that. We'll be releasing images of it later in the week. Next Monday, February 2nd, that goes on sale. So stay tuned for that. Alrighty. And also, we do ship to New Zealand as well. Night Spine, boys. Night Spine. I am so keen with Holbrook and what's going on there. We'll go deeper into it basically in the season preview, though. But Holbrook has been quoted. I'll probably use the next 3 weeks on it. This is on SEN 1170 Breakfast. Sanders Smith can play half, but also hooker. Crossland obviously prefers hooker, but can also play 13. And then you got Fletcher Sharp, and we won't get Kalen Ponga probably training with us until February. So we sort of have a missing piece in training with the recovery of his injury. We'll use the next few weeks shuffling guys around, figuring out the side of the field that they're going to play, and it'll work itself out over the next few weeks. I understand I have got to get that settled so we can get on with it. But the players themselves have been fine. They don't care what side of the play, the ball, and what position. But obviously, they all want to be in the side, but I'll fit them all in. I'm not 100% sure yet, but by the time the trials have finished, we'll be really confident and clear on who's where, and we'll get on with it. I'm torn on that quote. Because I am a big believer in a preseason together as the spine. This is who it is. And I get it. They're in the depths of a rebuild, like the full-on depths. So why rush something for short-term game and make maybe the wrong decision? However, it does concern me a little bit that the trials are going to sort it out. Like I don't know. I want a whole preseason with together. Granted, Kalen Ponga has been injured, so they can't really do that. So, as I said, I'm torn. I'm not on either side here. I get I get the patience in which he's working with, but it never ends. Oh, not ever. But how often are we going into a season where we're like, oh yeah, we haven't settled on our spine yet, and it's a fucking shit show for the rest of the year?
I don't understand what the confusion is. Sandon Smith's the best halfback at the club. Sandon Smith should be your 7. Dill Brown's the best 5'8" at the club. He should be your 5'8". Kalen Ponga is evidently the best fullback. He'll be the fullback. I think Phoenix is the best hooker at the club. He's the New Zealand 9. He's a great hooker. And the only thing is that Fletcher Sharp might not be playing his best position, but his best position is fullback. And if you give me Fletcher Sharp, Dom Young, Greg Marshall, the best winger out of those 3, in my opinion, is Fletcher Sharp.
Okay.
I think he's the most consistent one out of those 3. He's the one that I feel that I can rely on the most, that I know what I'm going to get every single week. I don't understand what the confusion is at Newcastle.
Do you reckon it's smoke and mirrors? I don't know why it would be
I
smoke
hope
and
it
mirrors.
is. And I really like Holbrook. He's worked with Sandon Smith before at the Roosters. He was the attacking coach there. He knows what he's capable of. I don't entirely buy that. I think that's what the spine will be, and that's what they'll run with.
I never get that though. Like, what's the point of the smoke and mirrors? Like, is anyone sitting there going, "Oh shit!" Like, we don't know the Newcastle Knights spine's going to be like.
The only problem I think is that he's now been thrown into a situation where Fletcher Sharp is playing in the halves apparently, and he wants to be more on ball. Like if that quote is entirely for Fletcher Sharp to maybe be able to put his foot down and earn that spot,
Yep.
sure. But I just think the best thing for Newcastle is to have Fletcher Sharp in the side somewhere. He's not the best 7, he's not the best 6, but I think he could be the best winger in the side. Play him there.
Yeah. Timmy, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, I have no idea what they're going to go with, but to be fair, it sounds like Holbrook doesn't either, so what hope are we? But, I mean, firstly, to your point, Kempy, around the disrupted pre-season, and again, there's nothing you can do about players being injured, but when you've got so many new pieces in your spine and these combinations, to have KP not training all pre-season, gee, that doesn't fill me with confidence for them starting off, because it takes so much time to get these combinations going. At the best times, that's with a full pre-season together. I think I'm with Guru in that I don't like Fletcher Sharp on the wing, but with the signings that they've got and trying to fit everyone in, I think the other benefit of Sharp on the wing, and he'd roam, 100% he would, and you'd get him involved, and you could get him ball playing and taking a bit of pressure off Ponga as well at times in the new halves, but if Ponga goes down, which history suggests he will, because he's had a pretty torrid run of minor injuries in recent years, at least you're only moving your winger to fullback there rather than changing your spine up again and doing these different things. It sounds like he poured water on sort of the wing stuff during the preseason again. Whether it's smoke and mirrors, I don't know, but it sounds like he won't play on the wing. In which case, will it be Fletcher Sharp 6, Dylan Brown 7? If they do that, I think Sandon Smith's too good to be playing off the bench. I think you can get more time out of him. Do you just start Sandon Smith at 9? I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Sandon Smith at hooker to know whether or not he can go big minutes there, and you have Phoenix Crossing at 14.
The only problem is, let's say you start him at 9. You've got a guy that might be able to play 9, playing that's a 7 or a 6, but definitely a 7 or a 6. So he's out of position. Then you got Dylan Brown playing 7, out of position. Then you got Fletcher Sharp playing 6, out of position. He's more of a fullback. Like that is a lot of people out of position to fit.
Especially when they're all really good at their position.
Yeah.
Just pick them there. I think the other thing that I like...
And sorry, just quickly. Phoenix Crossland, also out of position. He wants to play 9. He literally says that he'd rather play 9 there.
I think the other big advantage for Newcastle... What I love about Holbrook is he was the attacking coach at the Roosters. When he was at the Titans, as much as everyone bagged him and everything, they were doing pretty fucking well. Compared to where they are or where they were under Des Hazlitt, they were doing well. If you have a look at the Knights' draw, they play in Vegas for the first game. So that's going to be in a dome. After that... The latest game they play is a 4:05 p.m. game until round 14. They are playing day football for the first 4 months of the season.
Day-night football.
Move the ball. Play a Newcastle brand of footy.
Are we expecting Dylan Brown to be 7? Round 1.
Well, they kind of... I've seen quotes where it's like, it's not really... Dylan Brown said, I'm happy to do whatever.
I think Tyson Brazel came out and said the other day that he's been training mostly at 6. Dill Brown. I think the other thing with playing Dill Brown at halfback, round 1, you're playing in a position that he has consistently shown us he's not comfortable playing in. If it doesn't go well, the headlines write themselves there.
He just won a golden boot at 6.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't, but you know what I'm saying. He was the best player in the world.
Yeah.
At 6, he fully looked so natural to him. Every part of being a running 6, he was doing that.
I just think if you play him at halfback and it doesn't go well for the first few weeks, which there's every chance it won't at Newcastle, they've got a really shallow forward pack, that writes itself, and it's just going to be chaos. You're going to take the first step of this 10-year deal, whatever it is, and it's going to be carnage. Play him in his best position.
Even then, to the point of Sharp on the wing, if they do go down that route, again, KP goes down, easy switch. If Sharp is in the halves... and Sandon is playing as a 9/13, whether he's off the bench or whether he starts at 9. If KP goes down injured, you're moving your 5'8" to fullback. You're then moving your 9/14 into the halves. It's just a lot of changes again.
Honestly, miss me with this whole, we are still up in the air before trials. Do you know how different training is for a 9 to a 7? They're not the same position. It has to be smoke and mirrors, because I'm just how can, let's say he has a chance of playing 7. How can he have a proper preseason at 7 when he's training with the forwards? That's what 9s do. 9s train with the forwards. I hope it's smoke and mirrors.
I believe Holbrook knows what he's
Surely.
for Vegas. He's maybe he's just trying to keep guys on their toes. Maybe he's trying to, I don't know.
Good news is, all these blokes we're talking about, they're all bloody good footballers. It's just, can they make it work as a combination?
The hard thing is, as well, is just the forward pack, I just have so many concerns over. Like when you look at it,
We'll get to it. Season preview. Your thoughts, Hammy, quickly?
Yeah, I am inclined to agree. He'd have to have some sort of idea of what it is. And I would imagine even when interviewing for the job, he probably would have had to have gone in with a bit of a vision or here's what I think it might look like or, I reckon Roo's on the money there. It's probably just a little bit of keeping people on their toes.
Yep.
He'd have a bit of a blueprint of how it kind of unfolds. I'm probably with Roo. I think just play as many guys in their best position as you can just to alleviate the knock-on effect if one goes down, how much rejigging you have to do. Because that for the Knights for the last 3 years has been the problem. It's just been the halves. It's been a different 6 and 7 every 2 weeks. They've just changed them ad nauseum. So they need a bit of stability there. I like playing Dill Brown at 6. I know some people would probably go, he's on big money, he should be the halfback, but...
I hate that.
stupid.
I hate that money dictating.
I think it's kind of... it's becoming less and less, or it's starting to turn a little bit. Jerome Luai was interviewed last week.
Yep.
He said, I don't have to do everything. I'm going to be the number 6. I know kind of I came here and was keen to be Batman or whatever and play number 7, but I play my best footy at 6, so let me do that and do that as well as I can. That will make the team better. And I think that's probably the best way to get the best value out of Dill Brown, rather than trying to make him do something that doesn't come as naturally when he's incredibly good at the other thing that you get him to do. I think it just makes sense to, especially off the back of his form he had in the internationals as well.
Sandon Smith at halfback for me. Where would you have him?
Season preview, baby.
Oh, yeah, like that.
I don't know, wait.
Season preview. We'll get deep into it, baby. Alrighty, before we get into the Volk chat, that's right, Volk fighting this Sunday on KO main event. Got sent this by the Roosters, and I haven't actually opened it yet, so I thought I'd just open it here on air. It is their brand new sponsor, Adidas, however you like to say it. Let's have a look. There you go. There it is, the famous 3 stripes on the sides there. Let's have a look in the front. I mean, I've got to say, look, the jersey's solid. I would have loved, and look, no disrespect to Adapt of 8. Like, obviously, they were supporting, Roosters before they got the Adidas deal. I reckon that if they could have somehow come to a deal where they got the Adidas strip like thing in there in the middle, would have been good. And agreed to the Adapt of 8 to put it on the shoulder or whatever. Anyway, that aside, good solid jersey. I've got to say though, their training kit, unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
The back of the neck there on the inside.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, you seem to know your way around these Roosters.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. We play for premierships. Okay, so they didn't play the last 4 or 5? No. Look, I think it's such a good... regardless of whether you're a Roosters fan or not, it's so good for the game that we have huge sponsors like Adidas getting involved again. I'll never forget with, obviously, Nike and the Broncos. But their training kit... look, Warriors training kit's unbelievable. I really like their this year's. But I reckon Roosters Adidas training kit this year might be the best Roosters training kit I've ever seen.
It's pretty good.
It's unbelievable. That white version looks like a French soccer jersey almost.
Speaking of jerseys, I hate to say this, but the other day in the Roo crew, I was giving away some jerseys, and the guys that won decided they wanted a 2026 Maroons jersey. Mm-hmm. So they arrived the other day.
It's hot. Just say it.
It's a nice jersey.
We get if there's one thing the Maroons get,
little gold strip. It gives me like Dallas Johnson. It's cool.
We get Origin and we get jerseys. Two things that you guys don't get.
Mate, I did a show up at the Caco actually last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Darcy and Clutch, the Bloody Brewing Beers boys. And I was sitting around with some of our team and all that, and just a bunch of Queenslanders having a beer, chatting Origin, and they were just into me. And I just blew up and said, "You carrying on like you've just won another 8 in a row." I'm like, it's 4-4 across the last 8 years. And they said, "Oh, but this and that," and it got heated. And I'm just like, I need Origin to be here. We need to fix this mess.
But anyway, back to the jersey. Good solid jersey. There's the famous stripes there, which I cannot wait to see what else they come up with. But their training stuff as well, outstanding. What thoughts on the Roosters Adidas jersey and sponsorship, boys?
I like it. Looks good. Looks clean. Yeah, you know what something that surprises me, like the emblems, how they're not embroidered?
Yep.
I actually don't mind them like that.
Don't mind them?
When I held it, I was like, actually, I almost reckon it looks better.
that they're like this kind of plasticky kind of stuff. Not plastic is the wrong word. It does feel premium. I'll give you that. Like I do like the old school embroidery. It's almost like it's a handmade kind of feel.
Some extra love in there.
Yeah, extra love, a bit of extra love, bit of handmade love. But this feels quality. This feels outstanding. It absolutely feels outstanding. Timmy, thoughts, mate?
I think they're unreal. And I think they've reinvented the wheel too much. The 3 stripes for Adidas. I think it's a cracking jersey.
I think the jersey just by itself, good, solid. With the shorts, and you see the stripes going all the way down, looks great.
The unveiling they did was with DCE and Teddy.
Teddy, I think, yep.
Oh, it looks awesome all together.
Those shorts with the 3 stripes on the side, you don't get much better than that.
When a short works in concert with a jersey, that's what a good, well-balanced kit's all about.
That's the good stuff. I tell you what, I reckon there's going to be quite a few people buying those Adidas just footy shorts, like the Roosters footy shorts period, just because they're Adidas like that. Well done to the Roosters getting Adidas on board. Great partnership, and hopefully we can see more teams, get some big dogs. I mean, in saying that, it's good to have the independent Australian-owned business as well, partnering with the footy. Well done with the Adidas. Really well launched, and some of that training gear, I tell you what, pretty sexy. Alrighty. Volkanovski, he fights this week against Diego Lopes. He's fought him before. He beat him, and it's interesting. It was quite convincing in the end, but if you actually go back and watch that fight, Volk got dropped once. Lopes is a dangerous fighter. Boys, how are we feeling about this one?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling emotional because, I don't know anything, official, but it feels like it could be a bit of a farewell potentially. It's at home. It's here in Sydney. This could be it. Who knows? I mean, I know there's the little carrot as well. Is it a carrot for an Aussie? But potentially fighting on the lawn at the White House. I mean, who hasn't wanted to fight on the lawn at the White House? But this might be potentially his last way to wrap it up. And what a way to go it would be to defend his belt that he's already done a couple of times. But very excited for it. He's come around quick. I will say that.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt like it forever. And then last year, it's ages away. I got to say, Alex Volkanovski is truly almost like a Rocky story when it comes to Australian combat sport. When he was 26 or 27, maybe even later, he was still concreting. When I first met him, his biggest issue was he couldn't get a crack in the UFC. And he had other management that had stuffed him around. He was concreting all day, going home, training. At 26, 27, didn't take up the sport until, early 20s, I think, if that. Now he is about to headline a card in his hometown, and it's a title defense. It's the second time he's fought him, obviously. But it really is a story of a bloke that, if you said to a guy, let's say you went out to a 26-year-old right now that kind of trains but hasn't really made it yet and said, you will be one of the biggest combat sports stars in the entire world and also essentially the featherweight GOAT, you would say that's insane. At 26 or 27 years old, you say, mate, that ship has sailed. Surely I'm in the UFC by, 22, 23, 24. He wasn't in the UFC until he was it might have been 28 or something like that. It was relatively late. Still concreting, living down in the Gong. I think it was Shell Harbour, the area that he was living in. I remember he was going to shoot some bloke content for UFC, for MMA, and he had the backdrop or something at his house. And I remember going over there, humble beginnings, had his first ever UFC gloves there. And the man that he's turned into, we're talking about a Rocky story. An Aussie battler becomes the GOAT in his weight division and one of the biggest combat sports stars in the world. It's an incredible story.
The thing that always strikes me about him as well, obviously we've done a bit of work with him at sports, but over the years, acting in little funny skits and whatever. He's the nicest. Just doesn't strike you as probably what you would imagine a UFC fighter is. I know everyone's different, but you watch a lot of these press conferences. They got a lot of swagger, a lot of ego, all that sort of stuff. But he's just so down to earth. Remembers a little bit about you. Remembers your name every time you kind of meet this guy again. So for someone who's risen so high, to have his feet, still so firmly on the ground, quite like a refreshing kind.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about. Someone leaves a nice comment and I'm already walking and fucking with the shoulders back. I'm the man. Yeah. I tell people I'm the man when someone leaves a nice comment. There's a guy, I think his name's Liquid on YouTube. He leaves a nice comment every week. Really does mean quite a lot, actually. I appreciate it. And I walk in the house. I'm like, I'm the man. You better be happy with me.
Yeah.
Think about being Alex Volkanovski, essentially one of the most dangerous men on the planet. That's because that's what MMA is. They're basically trained to physically dominate other people. He was and is one of the most dangerous men on the planet with no weapons, and you still so firmly feed, like, you know what I mean? Like that should change your mindset. Like, think about the ego you would have knowing on the entire planet you're pound for pound one of the most dangerous men, and yet he's so chill. He's so chill. Like, I don't know how your brain would be able to keep up with that. And hopefully Liquid is leaving nice comments on his stuff too. Great Liquid.
Yeah.
What is it? Is it Liquid? It's in now. Try to find it. He does it every week. Great show, boys. And I'm like, fuck, what a nice, like, usually it's like, fuck you, Kempy, those shit tape, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's all negative stuff. When you get positive ones, you're like, oh, that's quite nice. But yeah, so like, look, this fight, okay. I do get the feeling they're almost trying to set him up to a degree. It's the age-old story in combat sports. You've got a star. He's in his peak. You put all the promotion behind him. He gets to a certain age. He's 35 now, 36. All of a sudden, you use him to set up another young star, if you know what I mean. So basically, you get a young guy to fight the older guy, and the younger guy gets the rub off Volk. So he's already beaten Lopes. Like, for Volkanovski, this fight does zero for his legacy. Like, he's already beaten Lopes. Even if he loses this fight, everyone's going to go, yeah, well, he's older. Like, you know. So the fact that the UFC have chosen Lopes again suggests to me that that's their hope of the next star in that division. He's a knockout artist to a degree. He stands and bangs, but also it's the huge Mexican audience that he has. I think that the UFC are almost trying to set Volk up. I don't know this at all for sure, but I feel like that Volk would kind of be aware of what's happening, because in reality, now granted, you can like, Volk's argument for why Lopes should get the fight is the fact that he puts his hand up to fight all the time. But when you just like look at what would actually be better for his legacy, it would be other guys that are on win streaks and everything that hasn't already beaten. So yeah, as I said, I think it is an opportunity for the UFC to try and put someone else on. However, I hope Volk spoils the party. He did exchange quite a bit last fight, and I think he was... Look, he said that wasn't the case, but it did feel, at least for me when I was watching, because it was after the Poirier loss where he got knocked out, I feel like Volk was almost trying to show, like, no, I'll still stand and trade. Like, I'll still stand in the pocket. I'm not afraid, which is very admirable. Now, granted, he said that's not the case, so I'm just making shit up. But I just hope in this fight, he goes in there to win the sport of fighting and doesn't make it a scrap. I don't want to see him in the pocket with Diego Lopes. I don't want to see him taking risks. Get the win. Obviously, keep it exciting. You know, obviously, don't be on your bike the whole time. But I don't want him exchanging, because it's just like, you got nothing left to prove. You know, like, you're the man. Win on points. You're technically a far superior combat athlete than Lopes. Like, Lopes is fun, but he's not even close to one of the best, and I don't think he'll ever get to that point where he is. Technically speaking, Volkanovski is one of the best fighters we've ever seen in our lives in the octagon. And
regarding the setup, like for the Mexican audience and Lopes and all that, Dana White loves Volk, doesn't he? Like,
he loves him because he puts his hand up, fights it all the time. Yeah. But Dana White's he's a shark businessman. He's a businessman, and at this stage, they've probably wrung as much as they can out of Volk in regards to, you know, star power, and they know that he's going to retire soon. Yeah. So why waste? Like, for example, let's say he retired tomorrow and he didn't fight. The UFC would be devo because they probably didn't get to use him to prop someone else up. Now they've got to start create stars between each other. Yeah. And there's no stars in the division because Topuria went up. And so I think that's what's happening at the moment. That's my opinion. Is
that a tinfoil hat, or is that more common than... I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm interested.
You could argue it's tinfoil hat, but if you know the business, like, that's the way it is. Yeah. Old legends set up young guys. That's just I mean, what made Volk's name was taking out Mendez, not necessarily a legend, but beat him. Aldo, who is absolutely a legend, and still you could argue is a featherweight GOAT, and he took out Max Holloway 3 times. Like, that's how he built his name. Because there was a period there where Volk, he just wasn't getting the rub from the audience, you know, like they just weren't connecting with him that much. And obviously, once he became himself and was more comfortable in being himself, the Australian public, you know, can't get enough of him. So look, I just want Volk to be super technical, get Lopes into that 4th and 5th round. Then maybe if you want to start landing some heavy shots and exchanging a little bit potentially, but I just don't want him getting in close early because it's too risky. It's not worth it. Like, you've already proven you can stand and bang with this bloke. I want him to be technical, drag it out, get in the 4th or 5th round, maybe finish him there.
As far as like the modern era go, like the last 20 years or, since 2000 or whatever, like he'd have to be one of the favourite Australian athletes, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Consensus, like
Absolutely.
I don't watch UFC at all, and I love him. I don't know anything about him, but I love the way he carries himself and how he.
Well, I tell you what, have you ever met anyone that says they don't like Alex Volkanovski?
No.
Never. I have never, ever. Whereas, like, you can name me nearly any other athlete that's big, and they would have people that are just like, no, I don't like him. Like, Nathan Cleary, for example. Like, what has he ever done wrong? And he has a lot of people that just don't like him. He's like literally done nothing wrong, other than one of the greatest TikTok dancers we've ever seen in our life, which is not wrong, but that's right, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's very rare that you can uniformly, survey Australians, and probably 90% would say, yeah, I love Volk. Like, you just don't see it. So I reckon Volk wins on points. I hope that he goes, thanks for coming, hangs the gloves up or puts them down on the mats. He's done enough. Now, granted, like, if you can fight at the White House, then I guess that would be a lifetime achievement for sure. But just as a pure Volk fan that wants him to get all the respect he deserves in retirement, I'd love to see him retire on a win in a title defence.
Farewell season with the Warilla Gorillas.
Maybe, yeah, bring him back. The Will. I tell you what, the fans would come out for that.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, he wouldn't be playing in the front row, that's for sure. He'd be playing, mate, get him, maybe number 9. Just get in there, some uppercuts in the scrum. Jeez, I wouldn't be throwing back, that's
13.
for sure. 13, you reckon?
Yeah.
Mate, he's little these days.
Put a few extra kegs on.
Yeah, you'd have to get a few kegs on him. I reckon put him as a little number 9, just get Lippy around him so that, hey, mate, he's getting Lippy, get Volk, send him over there. Could you imagine? I think, is it Tougher? He played in the 9s comp on the weekend. He's a UFC fighter. But yeah, good stuff. I got Volk by points.
Yeah, I was going to go Volk by points as well. I think that's how it unfolded last time those two fought. That was his last fight in April last year. But I think Volk on points as well.
Yeah, Volk on points.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I like that.
Volk TKO.
Oh.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Matt?
Liquid acid was the guy.
Liquid acid, yeah, the GOAT. Liquid acid, there you go. Liquid acid, the GOAT. Always these positive comments. Let's get more positive, baby. Okay, let's face the music then. Well, obviously, we already just did our Volk.
Of course, yeah, you've whacked him in. So about him by
Sportsbet.
points. Brought to you by Sportsbet, of course. We'll whack some of these on the feed. Myself and Kempy. If you had Volk by points, $2.80, you're getting there.
Okay.
Volk TKO, Timmy, bit of value for you, $4.60. Have you got a round, do you think, Timmy? Think you might get that done in?
5-round fight, title belt. It'll be round 3.
Round 3, $19.
How good.
Also
Ooh.
best backed in the Method of Victory market
you go.
as well. Yeah. So giddy up there. Hopefully Volk can get it done. Again, as I said before earlier in the show, make sure you're watching the Sportsbet socials this week. It might be coming out today, in fact. Bit of time with Volk on his farm. I don't know if you've ever seen the old some of the old Chris Lilly shows, We Can Be Heroes, where there's the two the two brothers and one donates his eardrum to the other brother, Daniel and Nathan. Remember how they used to shoot that?
Oi, Nath.
Yeah, it's basically that. And Volk's on the farm. Volk is on the farm with cooking with Volk, and they're like arguing with each other. It's very clever. It's come up beautifully. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Hey guys, tennis as well. If I can just get your Australian Open men's winner and your Australian Open women's winner. Obviously, we're kind of in quarterfinal mode at the moment. For the men, Sinner's $1.80, Alcaraz is $2.60. Then Novak, he's there at $9.50. Zverev, $23. Shelton, $41. The Demons, $56. Teen is $61, and Musetti is $81.
Go the Demon. Demon's going to get it done.
Demon's going to get done at $56.
I
like the optimism.
Did you see his winnings? His winnings are like 30 plus mil. And like, has he won a Grand Slam yet?
No, he hasn't. No, he gets the quarterfinals.
He's a quarterfinal specialist.
He is.
And he's on 30 mil.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Must be nice,
Gotta
eh?
get me son into bloody tennis.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Get him in there.
I'll take Novak.
Yep. $9.50.
Alcaraz.
$2.60. Yep.
Alcatraz.
Alcaraz.
Yeah, no, I'm going to go with Ben Shelton. He's got Sinner today. $9.50. Watch this space. He's $41 to win it overall. And with the women, we're going to go reverse order here. I'm going to take Sabalenka, the favourite, $2.20.
Now, I won this last year. I don't know if you remember.
Oh,
and I
fuck
can't remember
me.
her name, but
Madison
she won.
Keys.
Madison
Keys?
Yeah.
Oh, yep, that's it.
Did you want her?
Alicia. Yeah, she went all the way.
Did you want it?
I can't see her name in front of me.
Yeah.
One of the great setups.
Matty, who would you like? Yep.
Can you read the list of who's
I
there?
certainly can. Elena Rybakina is $5. Anisimova is $6. Iga Swiatek is $6.50. Coco Gauff $8.50.
Shoddy.
Yep, okay. Jessica Pagula, $14. And Svitolina. is
Who's the Aussie?
$39.
The Aussie got put through because Osaka.
Nah, go on.
Oh, she's gone?
Yep.
Okay.
Gone.
Sorry, I literally wasn't listening when you spoke then. I apologise.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Well, I'm
that's
glad
really
I read
bad.
them all out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's really bad by me because I asked for it.
No.
Just give me the third most favourite.
Okay. You've got Amanda Anisimova at $6.
Yeah, I've always backed her in.
Yeah.
I've always backed her in.
Iga Swiatek.
Yep. And Coco Golf for you, Ruth?
Yeah.
Yeah, $8.50.
Alrighty, that is us done and dusted. Normal show next week, Feb 2nd. Rue will be gone.
Won't be here next week.
Won't be here.
Gone.
However, I think Leaguey's going to join us, so we'll have a full panel. Super Bowl's next week, isn't it?
Correct. Nah, week after.
Week after. And then the week after that, Feb 9, the season preview is dropping. Our biggest show, literally our biggest show of the season. Like the amount of downloads it gets is actually insane. So make sure to stay tuned to that. Grab your Grumpy Coffee, grab your Lontel, your KO. Thanks to all our partners, Sportsbet. They will, what keeps the lights on. And as usual, we'll all go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.